does humanity go from here? What have we tried to do? What if there is more, much more? The Keshe Foundation is proud to announce a new way to bring humanity forward through technology that brings humanity in line with the natural operation of the planet and universe itself. The new science and technology discovered and developed by the nuclear engineer Mr.M.T.Keshe centers upon the use and control of magnetical gravitational fields. This new body of knowledge opens the road to hundreds of potential applications, which offer solutions to most of the fundamental problems of the world, such as water, food, environmental contamination, and shortages of energy. The Keshe Foundation is proud to unveil the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Nestled amidst the beautiful shores of Bari, Italy, the Institute is poised to become a central hub in the spreading of plasma technology and knowledge. With its state-of-the-art 21st century facilities, the Institute will be able to provide students and staff an immersive way to learn the plasma technology, to be the leaders of the new generation of scientists and plasma engineers. The Keshe Foundation has opened the door to the world for peaceful usage of technology that is independent of the limited resources that are available on Earth. This is an understanding of how everything works together in harmony in our universe, and it applies to everything from the smallest to the biggest, from atoms to galaxies. We all are able to collectively work together in pursuit of knowledge, innovation, and solutions for our society. This learning environment is new to the world, where there will be no test to confirm your understanding. The knowledge of everyone will be respected and allowed to flourish in a nurturing environment. Hands-on testing and experimenting will be widely used in conjunction with roundtable discussions to bring all opinions and knowledge forward. Students will be introduced to a change in the ethos of working in collaboration. Students will experience firsthand how we share knowledge in a free and open manner. Graduating students are expected to share the knowledge they gain from the university within their respective communities and nations. All formal teachings, lectures, and presentations will be in the English language, with technology available for immediate translation. Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will be offering 3-year executive master programs for undergraduate degree students and 1-year executive master programs for graduate degree students in the following fields: space transportation, new plasma technology, health, agriculture, materials, energy. The health section is designed to make students able to live in space without the need to return to Earth. To this end, the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute has found processes for many diseases including ALS, cancer, coma, epilepsy, multiple sclerosis. Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will offer online teaching courses which will enable anyone, anywhere around the world to enroll and increase their knowledge and understanding. Students will have the opportunity to direct their work towards commercial spin-offs and seek funding through the help of the Keshe Foundation. The access to the new science and new technologies is openly available for peaceful use to the benefit of mankind to make a better world today. Now you can be part of the changing world and the new knowledge. All commercial spin-offs are intended to be open source and patent-free. This is part of the core ethos of the Keshe Foundation and the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will have its official inauguration on April 21st, 2015, with courses commencing soon after on May 4th, 2015. The students of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will be the leaders of the future who will make changes in all areas of space technology, science, medicine, agriculture, and energy. Anyone is able to apply, but acceptance is through invitation only. No prerequisites are required. We will be accepting approximately 250 students for the 3-year Executive Master's Program and 120 students for the 1-year Executive Master's Program. We welcome humanity's participation in the knowledge of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Where does humanity go from here? That is up to you. Apply today.
Welcome everyone to the 28th Health Teaching Workshop of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. And today will be a question and answer session to review some of the previous material and answer questions that people may have. And this is the first workshop after the inauguration of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Last week we had a special workshop in place of the health workshop, and right directly from the Spaceship Institute. And this week we're back to our regular schedule, you might say. Irregular schedule. Mr. Keshe, are you ready to take over here?
Yes, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are, as usual, wherever you listen. This week we don't have Dr. Elia with us, so she's gone back to home after being here in the conference or the big opening of the institute. So we dedicate this site to the answering any questions, and at the same time, next week we'll speak or try to understand the working of the arm and leg, which the human body cannot move without it, the physical human body. So next week hopefully we'll discuss and we'll explain more in details about the working of the arm and legs, because we covered everything from the skin to the nose to the intestine, but the main part which gets everything moving around and feeds this body, which is the arm and the leg, will be discussed in the next workshop. Is this better? And you're getting some clicks. It's me playing with a pen. Okay, that's set aside. So, for those who were not present in the opening of the institute for the 3 days which were here, in that presentation, Professor Lutzi, who is the technical director of the Spaceship Institute, showed us some new systems which will be and is collaborated and integrated into the plasma technology. These systems were getting installed in one of the government countries, European countries, naval ships in the past 2 days, and it was completed this morning. So it has entered into the physical test phase for identification of the health and change in the coming course of time, as has been approved by the health authorities and the military. The new development allows us to identify the disease in a plasmatic condition, and at the same time immediately offer the solution in plasmatic condition. This has never been done. You can see the video and the equipment on the live stream. It disappeared here. You see the system is in an electronic version and has already second part been done partially through plasmatic, through blood, and in the next couple of months we'll offer a total system plasmatic with the hope of the structure of the plasma, where we can not only identify the real structure. Up to now everything is in a matter level and everything is in an electron level. So what we are trying to do to develop a system which not only detects the real structure of the GANs of the body, but it carries the information back in a GANs form to the body, which means we, for the first time in the life of man, in the health section, we measure everything in gravitational magnetic field, and we transfer the response for correction in gravitational magnetic field. So the response is fairly very rapid. We don't need to wait for months and months, and at the same time the system will deliver emotional and physical process at the same time to the same part of the body of the man. This is fundamentally never been done, but we needed to do this because, as we said and also in that presentation, we promised a long time that when we take man to space, we shall take no doctors as such and no medicine. The equipment you see in front of you fulfills the first step of that promise. If you look into the video, you can see that the test has been done on another doctor who volunteered to test the first phase, and we've seen the results in growing hair and in changing sinuses. And this system has been tested by health authorities and approved, and as I said, today in the first phase has been implemented since yesterday by the naval organizations or naval officers of the Western nation. What this will do is that we, for example, measure the strength of the plasma of a cancer cell, and we deliver more or less instantaneously the solution in a plasma in the form of a plasma to the cancer cell. But in a process that maybe you still have the cancer tumor in you, but in a neutral state or a non-magnet. For example, if you have a problem with let's say Alzheimer's, we can reverse the process in the same way. Take note, we are not treating, we are processing. It's the process which you create a condition for the reversal to happen. The technology has been tested independently by the governmental health organization, and the first stage approval has been submitted and been accepted and immediately taken up by the Navy. What does this do? This means, we explained this some time ago, but now that it's in open, in a public domain test, what this means is that the Navy in the Mediterranean and Northern Europe, Southern Europe, facing Northern Africa, receives a large number of refugees on boats. The officers coming in touch with these people who are trying to escape their situation do not know what diseases these people carry and what illnesses they have to handle. At the present time is to do with blood tests, physical test of materials that you can estimate the situation. Blood test needs physical contact. Blood test means can transfer HIV and all sorts of hepatitis B and C and the rest to the officers, so to the medical team. With a new process, the person, by holding the recognition identifying plasmatic condition tool in his hand, body measures all the plasma conditions of the body of the person within 1 minute. Everything has a strength gravitational magnetic field. Everything has been pre-identified for what it is. So immediately we can identify with a high percentage of accuracy the plasmatic condition of the illness, being a liver, being a cancer, being anything else, into a fairly square point, and then simultaneously the same officer, confident that the system works correct, in advising and handing over the situation to a medical doctor, confirming the situation with the patient or with the refugee, can administer the reversal of the process. Which means by the time you give a man sanctions for his life, you give sanctions for his health too. This is the byproducts. In the coming workshops in the health section, we will do these tests and monitor these tests physically from here, from the teaching center in the institute. Which means in a number of cases, Professor Lutzi personally will explain, monitor and show with the volunteers who come from all over the world. We open the doors of the institute to people with the illnesses which world has no answer for, to welcome them to the institute. And we do not do anything. With the presence of the physical medical doctors, the diagnosis will be done. We will not do this as an institute. We'll do collaboration even with me, most probably with the Army and the naval officers present. We go through the process of analyzing, understanding, then Professor Lutzi and the medical doctor in a plasma condition, and I will explain the working and how, and step by step we'll go through a reversal of the process, be it a cancer, be it Alzheimer's, be it any kind of disease that we think we have the knowledge for it to be able to interact with this process. This system and the development of it, the growth of it, has been agreed between Professor Lutzi and I, will be done in public domain. We do not hide anything. We will be very open about it. As you see, the initial test done by one of the core members of the Keshe Foundation, Sandor, standing there holding the gadget in his hand, and primarily assessing his health through this process in 1 minute. And fairly accurately, Professor Lutzi could explain what was wrong and what was the condition. This is how the future of the space technology is. I have been looking for this technology, this system to be established for years. For a long time, I've been busy trying to establish this, because in space, when, for example, or by accident or by any reason, age, the medical doctor is not available, or in accident we lose a medical doctor, doesn't mean the rest of the passengers have to die, because there is nobody there to help them. This system and modification of this system, more advanced system, which will be available in the coming weeks from the foundation, allows doctors or person to help themselves to save their own lives. The manuals of the operation and the measurement will be released in due course. So, in so many ways, fulfills in what we promised years ago. And we have now, with searching for such a technology to be able to deliver it, and it's been fine-tuned by Professor Lutzi in the past couple of weeks since we've done the initial test. Now the technology is available, and it'll be more available, and it'll be tested live at the institute. And then we release every detail about every structure of the electronics, which means your people, your scientists in your country will be able to develop and show and use this technology through the nationals. Would there be a need for public discussion about this new technology in a plasma level? Yes, there will be. Does it need to go to clinical trial? The result is so immediate that I think clinical results will be answered the same day. We have seen the rapid acceptance of technologies like this in different aspects, and now we shall do the same. In a way, the illnesses and what do you call it? Changes in the body, which we call diseases, most probably, majority of them, we can, because up to now we measure temperature, asthmatic condition of the body, be it done by infection, being done for any reasons in the body. Now, to do this. This is the health on the edge of science. At the same time, do we need to carry any more medicine with us? Or is this the end of aspirin and paracetamols? We say yes, because we've seen the results, we know the results, and we show more and more this process. Are we live? I see some changes in the background. Or does live stream has problems?
I had to refresh as well, Mr. Keshe.
Pardon? You had to refresh just now?
Yes,
something might have just happened, yes. My monitor kicked out as well.
Are we still live, or have you...
I believe so. It says perfect streaming for me at my end. And
okay.
As far as I know, the audio...
my end as well, so it looks good here.
Okay, we carry on. So, in a way, what you see is a revolution in the world of medicine. In the further steps in the future, in the coming years, even repair of heart tissues, liver tissues without invasive operations are possible and will be shown how to be done. This is very much when man saw the first computer some 40 years ago. This is the beginning of the first section of the medical application for space technology, which we share the knowledge with the rest of the humanity. This cannot be done by the Keshe Foundation scientists and the group on its own. So we invite the world scientists to join us, that we bring about a comprehensive application and implication of this technology. This, what it means, will end the monopoly and control of the health by one health organization, by one pharmaceuticals, and by one, industrial group. Because when you have this, all you need is the program for it. For cancer, according to your blood, you can monitor and do this yourself at home on your own. Or your doctor, local doctor, can monitor the application and implication of it. This changes hugely. The reason for this is, as we explained in the teachings in the last week when we were demonstrating this technology, is that if we can hold a sample of the blood of the space man here on Earth, and then he comes to be ill by whatever, and we can assess through using a tool in his hand in his board of the craft, the doctors on Earth can transfer and change the condition of the patients from here. Doesn't matter where in the space you are. As I explained in the teaching of last week, when we presented technology, this goes back in so many ways in what Einstein did not understand about the funny thing. He called the fun thing, when one atom turns, the other one on the other side, the twin turns as well. Using the same understanding, but in fact understanding totally how this happens, which is by changing of the polarity in the system which is twinned with you, the other pole has to change, because then the magnetic field, gravitational field revolves. So the other side revolves. So we use the blood of the volunteer as the first part of the finite, the same cells in the body of the man, which they all turn together. If we raise the strength in one cell, automatically we raise the same in the other cell. If we reduce it, it will be reduced. So this is fully understood through the plasma technology, which we have explained over months, and now we see the application and implication of it. If you go further into this presentation, which we see live now, which was done during the presentation, the tool which converts this system is very, very small. It's a tiny piece of the plasma technology. The rest of the gadget is all to do with electronic conversion, which in time we do not need electronic, we'll do everything through plasma systems. So the response will be more or less automatic and immediate. And this will change huge, and this will bring huge changes in the world of medicine. 50 years ago, 100 years ago, we never heard of tablets or injections. Now we hear about the plasma, and the tablets and injections will be history. They have become history since last week, that we showed it in public. Doesn't mean that we have to rely on chemotherapy to change the structure of the plasma of a cancer cell. We can do it directly understanding the measure of the strength of the cancer cell to neutralize it, to create a condition that the cancer cell, even if it might be in your body, it becomes non-malignant. If your heart valve has been damaged, that hasn't got the strength, once we know the structure, we can put in a position that it can rebuild itself. This is a change. Yeah, I have Armand raising his hand. I'm first volunteer. He'll be the first guinea pig next week on the table. The good thing with this is you don't need to go to the hospital, you don't need to go through operation, you don't need to have any kind of opening of the body of the man to create more problems. And secondly, they should have no side effects, because the body takes what it needs and what it needs to change itself to the original structure. The changes will be, and the development will be shown live here from the Institute, as I said before. So you learn with us, and we go forward as one race, as a human race, to help ourselves in the space technology together. So the findings of us, as has been with our patents, belongs to humanity and not the foundation, and we share it very, very directly with all of you. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. When we open up questions, is there anything on the live stream? We're just tuning into the conversation there. There's a question, can you repeat about the temperature of the body?
What do you mean by that? The temperature of the body in the human race is created through plasmatic interaction. In the course of this, the coming up sessions will explain this. It's very much like when the Earth is in one form near the facing the sun more, we have the summer, and facing away from the sun, we have the autumn and winter. Heat in the body of the man is created in the same way, by the interaction of the plasmas in respect to the increase in the expansion of the plasma of the iron in the structure of the body of the man, or infections which does such a thing. Then you have, if it's due to iron, then you have what you call a blood pressure, and if it's through molecular structure, this is what you call infection. The interaction of the plasma of what you call infection with the blood, the plasma of the blood, creates a different heat production, heat release, due to the rubbing of the two plasmas. So now we understand it, we measure it in both gravitational magnetic field, and then we assess and we can reverse it. The world of health becomes an easy play, very easy for a lot of people. The whole knowledge of man in respect to these things will be, will take months to learn a full operation, but you got to realize that our target is a space program. So you will show temperatures in the space when we come in the new plasmatic condition, new environment of plasmas. Understanding that in a space, against what, for example, astronauts and cosmonauts do, we will be walking in the normal condition in the environment of the craft by creating the 1G gravitational field forces. So we are open, and we can be open in the space to large dosage of plasma fields, which can interact with our body to create what you call temperature. The temperature created in space is more like a virus than an infection. And this is what we understand, and this is what we have to create conditions that we change the structure of the plasma internally in the body, not due to infections, but to the additional plasmatic magnetic field of the environment which man will come to exist in or to live in. So we are not looking at temperature as a single entity, what degree we might feel warmer. We look at the temperature as you see, Professor Lutzi just shown the new gadget which is developed and is used as part of the technology of the Keshe Foundation. We look at the plasma of the interaction with the body. And then the whole structure becomes much, much easier how to handle. Any other question? Are we still alive? I think we lost Rick and Vince in the space. Hello?
I'm still
Are
here.
we there?
Yeah, no, we're here, yeah.
Any other question?
Hi, Mr. Keshe, this is Kayvon. Can I just ask you a short question? When you talk like this, I mean, I don't know whether all the people understand the real true implications for, you know, the multinational pharmaceutical, whatever you have. How does the opposition express itself at this moment? I mean, how
we have no opposition.
There's no
we have no opposition. There's nothing to. The opposition will come when
interacting with the mind and heart.
When they have to use the technology to catch up. The point is that where did this technology, like the pharmaceutical, came from? From need of the man to recover as fast as possible from a health condition. When they have no solution, how can they oppose it? To oppose the whole thing. When you can show physically the changes in a rapid way, than taking a chemotherapy and hoping that you might survive the cancer, there is no match. As I said to somebody recently, the opposition from the pharmaceuticals to Keshe Foundation is how to actually collaborate. Because in so many ways, there is no competition and there is no opposition. Because we teach for you the same as we taught you how to make the GANs, how to make the nanolayers, and how we release the patterns. We release the whole circuitry. We release the whole structure. This is the difference. How can they oppose a technology which is in the hand of every man? Most of you are electronic people. Most of you understand how to make these things. It's taken Professor Lutzi in past month a lot of work to perfect even part of the process is developed since seeing the operation of these systems. So he will explain it. He's an electronic man. And then we explain the plasma side of the application. And the way we taught you how to use the GANs, we show you how to use the GANs of the blood of the man. The only difference is that you use the true structure, which is the GANs of your own body, to change the condition in your body. Not by assessing and maybe and possibly that a process of a chemotherapy might work with your body. It's a change. It's a total change. And so we do not see any opposition there, and we do not see any. I mean, the opposition will be the proof of the pudding is in it. We can show the proof of the pudding in a very short, rapid way. We don't need to wait for months and 6 months or 10 years to go through FDA. In this process, FDA has to sharpen up to the new technology. They have no choice, because people will make these systems at home. So FDA is so simple that every man can do the process at home. If you are an electronic man, you understand part of it. You can produce the systems at home. The way you do your GANs, now use the GANs of the blood to bring the changes. Don't forget that these giant animals of pharmaceutical has come through the ignorance of man, understanding the working of the physical body. Now we teach, we have taught the structure of physical body, now we show the equipment to put it right if it goes wrong. If you would have listened closely into what we thought in past 20-30 sessions of the Keshe Foundation on the health, you would have been able to understand how to build the systems, but that's, a lot of people didn't. Now we show it. The health patent has been released in the key. We released, so now we are showing its operation.
Yeah. Mr. Keshe, I got a question for you. I was kind of curious for a while if you know, when we talk about the physical body, the mind, and the heart, if there's a connection. It's Guy.
Hi, Guy.
Hello.
Hello,
I think
okay.
I had that question that is kind of going in my mind for a while, and so I was wondering if there was a connection between what you call the three plasmatic levels, basically principle, transitional, and matter, and what in the science, you know, they call the placebo effect, or the effect of the heart and the mind on the physical. So if there's a link between those three, or if it's the same thing, if we say the heart, is it principle? And you see, that's the question I was wondering.
I don't know what is which is principle. Most of the diseases we see with the body of a man has got a psychological reason. Majority of it, which is to do with the operational part of the dynamic part of the inner structure of man, which is like intestines and heart and lung. We hardly see, very rarely we see cancer in the arm and leg, unless it's on the skin, but not in the structure, because they have no organs, they have just the muscle tissues. So what we look for is to run the operation of the emotion through the
red blood cells and the physicality on the other side. So when you work with the blood, as we shown in the test, you already work with the emotional part, the soul, and the physical part of the man already. So it depends which one you want, what you want to call. Call the emotional part the physicality, red blood cells, the color and the physicality of the cell itself as a matter state, and then the fields from the red cell to manifestation of the cell itself, call it the transition, it all depends on you. But in fact, you have all three in the physical structure of the blood which you test.
Mr.Keshe, maybe if I can add up, can you describe what is then a placebo effect, or the opposite of what they call a nocebo effect, where the mind and the... Sorry?
Placebo, we have seen in this technology placebo effect, and usually when we used to use the first part of this technology, we used to see what people could imagine the system will do for them. Using the new electronic system, there is no placebo effect because we can physically measure everything immediately. In a way, we can give you the tool to hold and then do the process, and then give you the tool to hold again and see what the process has changed. It's instantaneous. This is the change. So if there is a placebo effect, we should see it, but the thing is, if you, for example, observe the change in the structure with, let's say, MRI or other methods, while you receive the system before and after, then there is no placebo, because the physical change we see. If we can grow the heart tissue, there is no placebo effect. You will see the physical development. Placebo effect is the result of what you call the present medicine, because in that process emotion is always ignored. The aspirin does not give you emotional support either, but when it's your blood, it carries both the emotional and the physical part. So placebo more or less is irrelevant. We should never see such a thing in this new technology. Placebo is what we call psychosomatic according to the medicine. They call it placebo. We give you nothing and then you don't know, you think because you've taken it, you think there is a change. But in this technology, because you're dealing directly with the plasma of the body, you deal with the emotion and physicality at the same time. Placebo has no room for this at the moment, the way we see it. We'll see here.
Yeah, there's a question. What does a high hemoglobin level mean?
Just 1 second, please. As usual, can you go on the Wikipedia and put high hemoglobin and say what it says? Have you recovered from your trip yet, or are you still asleep, Rick?
We got we got in and had a 2-hour break before the workshops here.
No sleep yet.
Just sleep on the plane. And so far, so good. A little dozy, though. Yeah.
Okay. No
It'll take a day or two, I think.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for hosting us, Mr. Keshe. It was a wonderful wonderful experience for everyone concerned, and for myself personally, especially, I was just overwhelmed many times. It was great.
You're welcome. We're going to repeat this next April, hopefully in China, with the
Right.
Chinese Research Institute.
Maybe a new country every year.
Wherever you open an institute, we'll try to be there. At least Arman promised he'll make it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We have, what does high hemoglobin mean?
Can you read it?
Oh, let me. Actually, I better
Okay.
go to Wikipedia. This is a different health thing. I know that we like our wiki. At least it's reasonably consistent. Let me try it differently here. There we go. Okay, there's the deal.
Can you open the screen? We
Yeah,
don't see the screen.
I've opened it now. It'll take a little bit just to come through here.
Okay. Can you? You want the high hemoglobin.
Right. It's research history, genetics, structure. Goodness. I'll have to search a little differently in Wiki. Let's see. Okay, well, with high hemoglobin, the bluish color is more readily apparent than those with high hemoglobin.
Okay, can you read what the hemoglobin is and where is it produced?
Okay.
Well, if we could
The
know,
hemoglobin, abbreviated HB, is the iron-containing oxygen transport metalloprotein in the red blood cells of all vertebrae, with the exception of the fish family, Channicthidae, as well as the tissues of some invertebrate. Hemoglobin in the blood carries oxygen from the respiratory organs, lungs, or gills to the rest of the body, i.e. the tissues. There it releases the oxygen to permit aerobic respiration to provide energy to power the functions of the organism in the process called metabolism. In mammals, the protein makes up about 96% of the red blood cells' dry content by weight, and about 35% of the total content, including water. Hemoglobin has an oxygen binding capacity of 1.34 milliliters of oxygen per gram. Is this answering your question, or shall I continue? Is that okay?
yeah, but okay, where is it developed? Where is the home? How is it produced?
Okay, so it's found outside red blood cells and their progenitor lines. Other cells that contain hemoglobin include the A9 dopaminic neurons, various cells in the kidney. Where does it come from? Okay. says it was discovered in 1840. It doesn't say where it comes from exactly. Okay, so let me continue.
Put on Wikipedia where does the hemoglobin is produced in the body of the man.
Okay. It gives me a series of links here, but I'm not sure if it's going to give me exactly where it is produced. Okay.
Okay, let's understand the operation of hemoglobin. Hemoglobin, as you said, is an oxygen carrier. As we know, no oxygen ever crosses the lung of the man, so it cannot be carrying any oxygen as an atomic or molecular. So what it means, hemoglobin is a plasma condition, which is plasma carrying strength is the strength of the oxygen plasma, or is the energy which we think is plasma oxygen that the body needs for its transfer. But as we don't, as most of our teaching, we always emphasize that there no oxygen ever crosses the wall of the lung. So hemoglobin is carrying energy that can be given or delivered to other part of the body of the man for them to do with the emotional part of the body of the man, be it in the cell or in the brain of the man. And then the color, as it goes to blue or high hemoglobin, is how much the body needs and can transfer or needs to transfer or has to be able to do for the emotional effect. Usually when I see high hemoglobin, I look for psychological effect. It means there is a lot need for a lot of energy, and this energy has to be used somewhere. And the change of color comes from the more fields available in the interaction. Don't forget, as you said, that you have a blue, or as I said, red. The color of the plasma comes from its strength.
And Mr. Keshe, it does say here the hemoglobin is produced in bone marrow by erythrocytes, yes, and is erythrocytes, and is circulated with them until their destruction. Is then broken down in the spleen, and so on. It gets recycled back to the bone marrow.
Okay, so that's why I asked you to look where is the home, where does it start?
Right.
Anything which usually more or less operates and created in the bone marrow has a direct connection with the emotional part of the man. Be it red cells, be it white cells, be it the immune system process to guarantee the survival of the what they call the emotional part. So the strength gravitational magnetic field of this entity is tuned to in two ways, to CO2 or to what do you call it, oxygen. And this is all to do with the energy plasma and nothing else. It's not physical matter, and it's to do with the strength of the plasma which it carries. And different strength plasma, if it is oxygen is red, more reddish, and if it is more of the weaker type, then you have, or a stronger type, you have a paler or darker color. So having high hemoglobin in majority of the cases is when the upper structure of the bone in the sponge part, as we hear, is allowing too much to be delivered too fast of the hemoglobin, which means the nanolayer inside the bone and the upper layers is damaged. So, because the filtering effect comes from nanolayers inside the bone, we got the bone on the table. When you damage the spongy part, a lot of things leak, and so you have a high hemoglobin or less being leaked or released into the blood cell, or in the blood, what do you call it, circulation. And then when you have more of it, it's the interaction of the materials with the plasma is absorbed as energy from the lung. Then this creates the colors. Even, for example, the color of the lips, which goes darker, or the skin in part goes darker, works on the same phenomena. You create a condition that allows seepage of blood, which can, due to this narrowness, openness of the fields, what they call a gap, to release blood hemoglobins, which, due to its strength, because they come through the bone marrow, absorb more or less of the magnetic gravitational fields when they pass the lung. So it can create a color difference, and or because you have more of it in the numbers as the leakage or seepage increases. To stop this process, you have to go back to the structure, release of calcium from the bone, in the bone marrow itself. This process means you allow certain calciums of a certain structure to be released or to be added to the spongy part, that not so much hemoglobins are released into the body to create a condition. This is a very simple process, but on the other hand, it depends on how you control the digestion system, that it can wash or release, or is too strong that dissolves the sponge structure of the calcium structure of the spongy part of the bone. It can be stopped if you can change the condition of the bone structure at the point of departure, not at the point of arrival. When it leaves the bone to join the blood circulation. There is a possibility, we've done this before, you can change it, you can interfere with it. It's not very easy, but you use the parotid glands for the release of the certain calcium in bone marrow to be released, that it can be added to the structure of the sponge, that it can reduce the release of the hemoglobin. If you make like a dam, you can stop the flow. And the dam is only produced by creating calcium layers, nanostructure. So you have to create a condition. You got to find out where the leakage is, which bone has a leakage or allows more hemoglobin to come out. Then you concentrate your work on that section to add or allow the calcium deposit within the hemoglobin itself, as it comes out, to be deposited at the point of the interaction. Yeah, part of it, yes. So, because if you go back into all the immune systems, which cells which come out of the bone marrow, they all carry calcium. It's the fundamental cornerstones of the creation within the structure of the body of the man. Then you have to change that. Then the calcium change the porousness of the spongy part, or where the bone is released through bone being damaged. But you control the solidity of the calcium through parathyroid gland. Things like this is very hard to interfere with through the system you have seen with Professor Lutzi. This has to be done in a different direction through digestion, but you still can use the same system, but through the digestion system to change the parameters. In time I'll teach. When we come to it, we'll teach how to do it. There is we have practiced this for years, so it's nothing new what we're going to discuss. The way you see with the diseases, with the system Professor Lutzi explained, we can do the same kind of changes, dictate the calcium carrying capability of, for example, what the water you drink, and in drinking it, it dictates what becomes the lymph, and then through it, what becomes the bone marrow, and then what becomes the hemoglobin. The system shown is not just for reversal, but it's at the same time we can use it to add into the structure or dictate what is absorbed or transferred from the stomach. Next question.
Yes, Mr. Keshe, there was a question from Ivan Ivanov earlier, and he was a little upset that we bypassed his question, you might say, but it's...
let him be upset. You always answer him.
Yes.
It's becoming too spoiled.
Yeah. Well, his question was, what is the principle behind the working of the machine? How is it measuring stuff? And he understands what it does, but it's still a mystery how it does what it does.
Listen to the explanation of Professor Lutzi in the presentation. He has explained it, how he used it. It's on a scientific research which has been done. This technology is not just used by him. I've seen, as I said in the presentation, this technology to be used by a number of other organizations, German and Russian, but Professor Lutzi has gone one step further in understanding and developing, and that's why it works in most cases better than the others. But all these systems have a certain failure because they only measure one-dimensional. They don't measure both gravitational and magnetical. So with this new technology we deliver, we measure the plasmatic, which is in a Gantt state of the body of the man. So you don't have a misinformation converting one plasma to a field and then trying to understand how the field works. One of the main problems even with the heart monitoring machines is the heart carries blood. Blood is in a plasmatic condition. How can you change and have an accurate understanding of the operation of the heart, which is made of GANs itself and transfers GANs in the vibration of the electron? We don't have the tools, and that's why we don't see most of the problems, and we can't solve easy problems, because we're dealing with sub of something, which at the end becomes a vibration. The GANs, the heart, operates, the blood flows through the body through the operation of gravitational magnetic fields, a plasma, not through electrons. If it was through electrons, then the blood should never flow. Everything would have done without floating, like the neurosystem. It's a plasmatic. It has to be dealt in plasmatic condition. And that's why there is a change. And the system Professor Lutzi shows still is an electron condition. That's why we're changing everything to plasmatic, and we teach it.
Okay. Okay, we have another question in the Skype call. How can a collapsed tongue be treated? And how to restore the vacuum in the chest and restore the membrane? It just happened to me 3 weeks ago.
I've never heard of this, so I cannot tell you anything.
Okay, we could once again try to look it up here.
Yeah, but the thing is, we see with a heart attack and condition of the heart failure, which leads with a shortage of breath, we always see the pull of the tongue. The tongue, before actually the attack, you feel like your tongue getting pulled back. This we understand why, and most probably collapse of tongue and the chest pain in the vacuum in the chest is of the same order. But I have never heard of it, so I can't make a comment.
Fair enough. Are there any other questions from people in the Skype call or in the live stream?
Doesn't look like there's any more questions there, Rick.
Well, it's a little hard to believe, but...
Exactly. I think everybody's more stunned than anything else. But it shouldn't be. Like, they shouldn't be stunned. That's the point of talking around these terms in a lot of different ways for a long time. So there's no need to be stunned by any of the information that's being released. It's what's been said in the past in terms of teaching just leads up to this kind of technology.
Yeah, for example, we have dentists who ask us, how can we grow tooth? Or can we grow tooth? In essence, you can, but we have to find out the condition that we can create through this system to allow it. There's a lot of problem, there's a lot of questions in the dental world of dentistry in respect to fillings and the effect of the fillings on psychology and physical behavior of the people. And so we have to extend the knowledge. The beauty with this is that we are not afraid of opening new doors. This is what is causing a lot of problem for a lot of people. We are not afraid to open doors and discuss the position about different aspects of the technology in plasma, and the health is one of the ones that we need to know to be able to guarantee, safeguard the life of man in the space. As I said, in the coming time, we open the doors in the health sessions in the afternoons, like Tuesdays. You can come to the Keshe Foundation into these presentations. And if you are ill, and if you are, or if you're sick, don't say, I know somebody, because we don't have the bloods, we can't see them, we cannot help them. or we cannot understand the process to be able to advise by doctors. We never do anything here when there is no doctor, physical doctor available or online, which means the doctors advise us from what they see, and then we take steps or we do the measurements for them to analyze, and then they can diagnose what it is, and we offer a process. These health teachings will become a very interesting teachings. People will come from all over the world to see if we can reverse their cancers or this disease and that disease. And all shall be done with the presence of the medical team and the advice of medical team. We provide the tools that the medical health people can test it here live themselves. We facilitate the world of medicine with new tools and equipments which we developed at the Keshe Foundation. And in turn, we release it to and for the use of the human race. This is the change, and as the way it's going to be. And we bring these technologies, we show them how. Doctors can come here and test it themselves. They can bring their patients with them and test it themselves. Gradually we open the doors of teaching in totally different way.
In regards to the teeth, the question was elaborated. The person asked, I was about to ask about the teeth. Do we still need physical realignment? Will it be a combination of plasmatic work to heal the structure and physical work to properly position, still needing braces?
Can you repeat the question, please?
The person says, I was about to ask about the teeth. Do we still need physical realignment? Or will it be a combination of plasmatic work to heal the structure and physical work to properly position, still needing braces? So braces are those...
You're really trying to get rid of the dentist, huh?
Well, I could...
You don't know. We at the moment, that part is unknown to us. How it can be done, the way it can be done. Most probably in a distant time, a lot of things will be possible. But at this moment, we are not concentrating, and I don't see how it can be done. The problem with a lot of these dental operations is that the loss of the bone of the cheek or the gum, the inside the jaw, bottom jaw. So a lot of dentists would like to know if we can grow the bones in the jaws or in the what do you call it, upper jaw. We have done some work on the bone growth, but it is very sporadic. You cannot confirm in what shape or form in the bone marrow, in the bone structure. Any other question?
Not seeing any other questions immediately here.
No value.
Not seeing any other questions immediately here, Mr. Keshe. And anybody in the chat want to volunteer a question? I have done some research on the regrowing of teeth concept, and it definitely seems to be a way to go for the future, and in a space context. There is a technique with a certain type of mineral water that you hold in your mouth and use an electrical charge at the same time that will remove tooth decay. within 5 minutes. And these kinds of combination procedures may be valuable in the future. You can understand that the gums, for example, are definitely a GANS material, very plastic and able to regrow under the right conditions. And I know for myself, one of those conditions is a salty environment helps to initiate at least the growth of the GANS, and it directly corresponds with the growth of GANS in a cell that you're with the plates, like the copper oxide or the CO2 kit. It's very similar circumstance, I believe, and I think I think that people can be able to do this in the future. But like you say, it will require some changes to take place before we get there. Okay, so
by I was going to ask about the more on the addition of a person's blood for communication. That is, of course, going to be across the universe, or is it across all universes? As in, if we go outside and we cross universes, whenever that is possible, having a something of ourselves here, will that help us as well outside?
There's a process which is used and can be used in a very easy way. If, as we said and we've shown with the work of the Professor Lutzi, and using the new technology that we use the plasma of the blood to change the condition, and doesn't matter where you are. In so many ways, wherever you are in universe and you left the blood here, that blood connection can be the path for you to return back to Earth. Doesn't matter where you are.
Thank you. That answered a very important question.
Because this is a part of the technology which we have actually offered to the international police. And we offered it to the national securities. This is part of the technology that if, for example, a child is kidnapped, or a man is kidnapped, or a child is stolen, and we have in the reserve bank a drop of their blood kept in the state of the plasma, using the new technology which you see on the desks explained in a different form, you can instantaneously locate where the child is, or whatever it is. When it comes to terrorists, when it comes to criminals, if you have from them a blood sample and kept in the blood bank, they can hide anywhere they like. Within seconds you can locate their position. Don't forget the word of Einstein, the funny thing. The funny thing is connected to the funny man, which you have one end of it sitting in your system. This is one of the technologies, now that we have shown the system, and then you are aware of the defense technology system we have developed. Once you merge these, we offer this to the US national securities before Christmas. Terrorists have nowhere to hide. Even if you have the, like very much, let's say, a sweaty t-shirt from them. When children are born and their blood sample is kept in a plasma state, does not matter when, what age they are and they go missing. You don't need to look for children for years and years. A mother should not miss a child for years and worrying if it's alive or dead. Within seconds, in introducing the system, the blood into the system, you can locate the person. Then is up on the person who wants to stay anonymous, or if a child is kidnapped or stolen or whatever, we can immediately locate the child.
Is it just
It's
the
a
blood,
huge
or is it any
application
part
for
of the DNA?
We'll explain more in detail. We explain more in detail. It's a reason for the blood. There's a reason why we use blood. We offered this technology freely to the Italian police who were in protection for us during the conference. The knowledge is in the hand. It's not something that is a dream distance. We do it through the cups, the drinking cups. So if, for example, you're looking for a criminal and you have his fingerprint, but you go to the bank and find a sample of his blood, 5 minutes, he's in custody. This is a change of game, totally. But first of all, the authorities have to understand. Secondly, the humanity has to learn and not to abuse the knowledge. So what this means is we get lost in the space. We don't need to worry where is the earth, or can we get home. We know we left a drop of blood or structure of our blood back at home when we left. Even our future generations, knowing there's a capsule with the blood in on board and there's a copy here, they can find their way back home. This, as I said, this technology will change everything in the structure of the man's life. As you can find a cancer cell and change it through the blood, that cancer cell within Spain or in Italy or in South Pole, in the hand of the capable man, as you can help him to save him, you can help to find him too. Missing man in a space will be history. It will not happen unless they lost everything.
But Mr. Keshe, can you give us a hint? Is it the DNA or RNA?
Both. Do you want to find a toe or do you want to find a brain? Which one would you like to find?
I like to find the total, you know.
Right, it makes sense because we don't just talk about the DNA in plasma. We talk about both the RNA.
Yes. Yeah, you're very correct, because one carries the emotional and one carries the physical.
So it's an either or situation. Either you have the totality or you have just the physicality.
Yeah, both of them. You understand?
I think
the whole process. The whole process is different. Are we still there or are we gone?
No, we're still here.
We're still here. We're considering maybe we should end this workshop a little bit early and get on with the Spanish workshop and have it on time in another 5 minutes or so, actually.
Okay, no problem. No problem. So we'll see you in the next workshop, health workshop next week. Hopefully we'll be able to discuss the arms and legs, and we'll explain to you the spiritual arm legs of the physical man too, maybe.
Yes, our arms and legs, not Armin's legs, as I misheard earlier.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you very much.
Very good.
You. today.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you. Okay, and that wraps up the 28th Health Teaching Workshop of the Keshe Foundation, Spaceship Institute. Thank you, everybody, for attending.
So, for those who were not present in the opening of the institute for the 3 days which were here, in that presentation, Professor Lutzi, who is the technical director of the Spaceship Institute, showed us some new systems which will be and is collaborated and integrated into the plasma technology. These systems were getting installed in one of the government countries, European countries, naval ships in the past 2 days, and it was completed this morning. So it has entered into the physical test phase for identification of the health and change in the coming course of time as has been approved by the health authorities and the military. The new development allows us to identify the disease in a plasmatic condition and at the same time immediately offer the solution in plasmatic condition. This has never been done. You can see the video and the equipment on the live stream. It disappeared here. You see the system is in an electronic version and has already second part been done partially through plasmatic, through blood, and in the next couple of months we'll offer a total system plasmatic with the hope of the structure of the plasma, where we can not only identify the real structure. Up to now, everything is in a matter level and everything is in an electron level. So what we are trying to do to develop a system which not only detects the real structure of the gans of the body, but it carries the information
from here. That is up to you. Apply today.
Welcome everyone to the 28th Health Teaching Workshop of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. And today will be a question and answer session to review some of the previous material and answer questions that people may have. And this is the first workshop after the inauguration of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Last week we had a special workshop in place of the health workshop, and right directly from the Spaceship Institute. And this week we're back to our regular schedule, you might say. Irregular schedule. Mr. Keshe, are you ready to take over here?
Yes, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are, as usual, wherever you listen. This week we don't have Dr. Elia with us, so she's gone back to home after being here in the conference or a big opening of the institute. So we dedicate this site to the answering any questions, and at the same time next week we'll speak or try to understand the working of the arm and leg, which the human body cannot move without it, the physical human body. So next week, hopefully, we'll discuss and we'll explain more in details about the working of the arm and legs, because we covered everything from the skin to the nose to the intestine, but the main part which gets everything moving around and feeds this body, which is the arm and the leg, will be discussed in the next workshop. Is this better? And you're getting some clicks. It's me playing with a pen. Okay, that's set aside.
Where does humanity go from here? What have we tried to do? What if there is more, much more? The Keshe Foundation is proud to announce a new way to bring humanity forward through technology that brings humanity in line with the natural operation of the planet and universe itself. The new science and technology discovered and developed by the nuclear engineer Mr.M.T.Keshe centers upon the use and control of magnetical gravitational fields. This new body of knowledge opens the road to hundreds of potential applications, which offer solutions to most of the fundamental problems of the world, such as water, food, environmental contamination, and shortages of energy. The Keshe Foundation is proud to unveil the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Nestled amidst the beautiful shores of Bari, Italy, the Institute is poised to become a central hub in the spreading of plasma technology and knowledge. With its state-of-the-art 21st century facilities, the Institute will be able to provide students and staff an immersive way to learn the plasma technology, to be the leaders of the new generation of scientists and plasma engineers. The Keshe Foundation has opened the door to the world for peaceful usage of technology that is independent of the limited resources that are available on Earth. This is an understanding of how everything works together in harmony in our universe, and it applies to everything from the smallest to the biggest, from atoms to galaxies. We all are able to collectively work together in pursuit of knowledge, innovation, and solutions for our society. This learning environment is new to the world, where there will be no test to confirm your understanding. The knowledge of everyone will be respected and allowed to flourish in a nurturing environment. Hands-on testing and experimenting will be widely used in conjunction with roundtable discussions to bring all opinions and knowledge forward. Students will be introduced to a change in the ethos of working in collaboration. Students will experience firsthand how we share knowledge in a free and open manner. Graduating students are expected to share the knowledge
Back in a gas form to the body, which means we, for the first time in the life of man, in the health section, we measure everything in gravitational magnetic field, and we transfer the response for correction in gravitational magnetic field. So the response is very rapid. We don't need to wait for months and months, and at the same time the system will deliver emotional and physical process at the same time to the same part of the body of the man. This is fundamentally never been done, but we needed to do this because, as we said and also in that presentation, we promised a long time that when we take man to space, we shall take no doctors as such and no medicine. The equipment you see in front of you fulfills the first step of that promise. If you look into the video, you can see that the test has been done on another doctor who volunteered to test the first phase, and we've seen the results in growing hair and in changing sinuses, and
this system has been tested by health authorities and approved, and as I said today, in the first phase has been implemented since yesterday by the naval organizations or naval officers of the Western nation. What this will do is that we, for example, measure the strength of the plasma of a cancer cell, and we deliver more or less instantaneously the solution in a plasma in the form of a plasma to the cancer cell. But in a process that maybe you still have the
knowledge they gain from the university within the respective communities and nations. All formal teachings, lectures, and presentations will be in the English language, with technology available for immediate translation. Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will be offering 3-year executive master programs for undergraduate degree students and 1-year executive master programs for graduate degree students in the following fields: space transportation, new plasma technology, health, agriculture, materials, energy. The health section is designed to make students able to live in space without the need to return to Earth. To this end, the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute has found processes for many diseases including ALS, cancer, coma, epilepsy, multiple sclerosis. Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will offer online teaching courses which will enable anyone, anywhere around the world to enroll and increase their knowledge and understanding. Students will have the opportunity to direct their work towards commercial spin-offs and seek funding through the help of the Keshe Foundation. The access to the new science and new technologies is openly available for peaceful use to the benefit of mankind to make a better world today. Now you can be part of the changing world and the new knowledge. All commercial spin-offs are intended to be open source and patent-free. This is part of the core ethos of the Keshe Foundation and the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will have its official inauguration on April 21st, 2015, with courses commencing soon after on May 4th, 2015. The students of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will be the leaders of the future who will make changes in all areas of space technology, science, medicine, agriculture, and energy. Anyone is able to apply, but acceptance is through invitation only. No prerequisites are required. We will be accepting approximately 250 students for the 3-year Executive Master's Program and 120 students for the 1-year Executive Master's Program. We welcome humanity's participation in the knowledge of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Where does humanity go?